Hey guys, this is a video to teach people how to use the deck building software on cardgamedb.com so that we can make decks for the first season of the Netrunner League. I don't really have any screen recording software, so basically the idea is that you'll minimize this video and you'll basically listen to what I'm saying while you have the website up. So I'll put a link in the description, so have that up. Okay, so it's going to ask you, are you creating a Corp or a runner deck? We'll click on Corp because it's slightly more complicated, so better to get that out of the way. Once you've clicked on the big picture of the corporation card, you have your filter options. So you've got order by, slide, side, text, useful, identity, blah 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 blah. First of all, you need to go down to your set, okay, and you need to go down to set and click on choose a set to filter by and select core. Okay, and this will restrict the cards you see to just those from the core set, which are what we are using for this first league. Okay, so with that done, go up to type, which is just above set. At the moment it says any. Select it and change it to identity. Okay, now once you've done this, go back up to the top of the page and click on search, which should be in a text box, and when you press that it should become up with a little loading bar, and after a couple of moments you'll be presented with 4 card options: Haspiroid Engineering the Future, Jinteki Personal Evolution, MBN Making News, and Wayland Consortium Building a Better World. All of these cards have got tiny little minimized pictures and the big green plus next to them. If you click on the picture of the card, then it will come up in more detail with sort of like a sub-description underneath, as well as the actual image of the card itself. So for this, let's assume that we're building a Wayland Consortium deck. So all you would do is you would click the green plus arrow next to Wayland Consortium, and once you've done that, now to the right, over where it says total cards, above it should say identity Wayland Consortium. It's really important to do this at the start because the identity that you are will dictate the influence costs of the other cards you take. We'll see that later. So now that you've got your identity, you need to go back and click on filter. Right, so now that we know, now you've got your filter options up again, now that we know that we're making a Wayland deck, best thing to start off with is to look through our Wayland and our neutral cards, because as you can see, the Wayland identity card will still be visible for you if you clicked it earlier, and it says that there is at the bottom left of the card 45 and 15. Now what these two things tell you: 45 is the minimum deck size, so our deck has to have at least 45 cards, and underneath that 15 are how many influence points you have to spend on cards that aren't Wayland or neutral. And different cards will cost different values, and you can have up to 15 points worth, however you want to split it. And this is the same for all the 4 agendas across the in the starting core deck. So first of all, we're going to look at our Wayland and our neutral cards and build the deck up from that, and then look at the other decks and see where we can splash our influence. So next to where it says type, I want you to change that down to agenda, which is the one just under identity. So click on type, click on agenda, and now go back up the page slightly. It says agenda : and you've got ticks in all of the boxes: Haspiroid, Jinteki, MBN, the Wayland, and neutral. I want you to unclick Haspiroid, Jinteki, and MBN. So the only boxes you've got ticked are the Wayland Consortium and the neutral. And once again, click search. Loading. Right, now you should have again 4 cards on your left: Hostile Takeover, Posted Bounty, Priority Requisition, and Private Security Force. Now again, if you click a picture of this card, so if you click the picture of, let's say, Hostile Takeover, the one at the top, again it tells you all the details of the card, And importantly, underneath the little summary where it says when you score hostile takeover, gain 7 credits and take 1 bad publicity, underneath it says quantity 3. When you deck build in Netrunner, you can have a maximum of 3 cards, 3 copies of each card in your deck. However, when it says quantity 3 underneath, what it's telling you is that in the core box, they put 3 copies of this card. Now, that's great, that's the maximum you can take, but with a lot of the cards, not a lot, but with quite a few cards in the core box, they only put 1 or 2 copies. So you don't want to deck build and say, I'll take 3 of these. Well, actually there's only 1 in the game because we just don't have the cards to make the decks that way, and that's just a restriction we're going to have to play with. So, we've gone to agendas first, because when you make a corporation deck, agendas are the first thing you should really do, because you must put a certain number of agenda points in your deck. Now, in the core deck, there's not really very much decision making to be made with agendas, because at a minimum of 45 cards, which is what our Wayland deck needed, that 4-5 that was on it earlier, we need to have, with a deck size of 45 to 49, you need to have 20 to 21 agenda points. Now, 20 to 22, even maybe 20 to 21, basically you'll need to use all the agenda cards that came in the core set. So at this stage, there's actually no decision making to make, but it is useful to know for future deck building. So all you need to do, hostile takeover, there are 3 copies of it in the core deck, click it, click the plus symbol 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Now to the right, underneath where it says Identity Whaling Consortium, it should say total cards 3, agenda 3, hostile takeover 3. Obviously if you've put in too many, you just click a minus. Now if we go underneath to posted bounty, the key difference here is that if you look underneath the card, it says quantity 2. There are only 2 posted bounties in this. So even if you looked at posted bounty and you thought you preferred it to hostile takeover, I'll take 3 of them and 2 hostile takeovers. We don't have the cards, so don't do that. Just add 2 posted bounties to your card. So green plus arrow twice. Boom, boom. Now underneath, you have priority requisition. Now this is different because it's a neutral agenda. Underneath it says quantity 3, so you guessed it, you've got to put 3 of them in. 1, 2, 3. And underneath private security force, 3 more, because there's 3 in the box. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if we rewind a bit now, in our Wayland deck at the moment, to the right, we have Identity, Wayland Consortium, Building a Better World. Underneath that it should say total cards 11. Underneath that, agenda 11, private security force 3 copies, priority requisition 3 copies, posted bounty 2 copies, and hostile takeover 3 copies. Now, even though we have to have 20 to 21 agenda points, the agenda points are, each card is worth a different value. So the private security force in the middle of the card, to the left, those 3 stacked things, that means it's worth 2 agenda points. Priority requisition is worth 3 agenda points. Posted bounty and hostile takeover are each worth 1. So with 3 copies of hostile takeover, that's 3 agenda points. 2 copies of posted bounty, that's 5. 3 priority requisitions, add 3 times 3, 9. 5 add 9 is 14. 3 copies of the private security force, which have 2 points each, is 6 more, and that's 20. So there's our 20 agenda points. Whew, all done. Finished the agendas. Now, go back up to filter, which is next to cards, and we've done the agendas, so you can go down to type, click on agenda, and we're going to change it to ice, because this is one of the most important parts of any corporation deck. Ideally you want, in a deck of 45 to 49 cards, you want around 18 to 20 pieces of ice. Mainly, it depends on the kind of ice you put in. If you put in little itty bitty ice, you might need more of it. If you just put in a few big ones, you might need less. So if you look through now, all the ice that is either Wayland or neutral is displayed on the left, which means you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of ice to choose from. Now if we go to the top one, Archer, again, wonderful piece of ice. Why not put 3 of them in your deck? Because underneath all the sub-description, it says quantity 2. So no matter how much you like Archer, you can only put 2 of them in the deck. You don't have to put 2 of them in the deck, it's completely up to you. Let's say you like Archer, but because it's quite an expensive piece of ice, because you have to sacrifice an agenda, we're only going to put 1 in. So just add 1 Archer to your deck. Underneath you've got Enigma. This is a neutral agenda, it's an end the run, it's a really good early piece of ice. It's a code gate, and wait, if you look at the card, when you click on the picture, you can see it's a code gate. And if you look through all the other pieces of ice we've got available, Archer is a sentry, Hadrian's Wall is a barrier, Hunter is a sentry, Ice Wall is a barrier, Shadow is a sentry, or Static is a barrier. This means Enigma could be the only code gate piece of ice we put in the deck. Well, that's brilliant. So in that case, Enigma will take as many as we can take, and that's 3 of them, because it says underneath quantity 3, which means we've got 3 copies of Enigma in the core box. Next one's Hadrian's Wall. It's a massive barrier, it's an iconic piece of ice. There's only 2 of them in the box, and we'll take both of them, because these really are OMG moments for the runner when they encounter something as big as Hadrian. Underneath, Hunter. Now this is a neutral one, gives you trace. Tracing tagging can be important for Wayland. We don't really know what kind of deck we're building yet. This is only the first time we've done this, so maybe just take the 1 Hunter. There's 2 in the deck, so we're fine with that. Ice Wall, very cheap. It's a barrier, it ends the run, great early piece of ice. There's 3 of them, we'll take all 3. Okay, underneath Ice Wall you've got Shadow. Now Shadow's a funny one. It's a sentry, it's pretty weak, it's quite expensive, but it gains you money, and it runs traces. So, do we want it in the deck? We've only got we've got 1 sentry with Hunter, we've got 1 sentry with Archer. I think we'll put 2 copies of Shadow into the deck. And then lastly, Wall of Static. Classic mid-strength barrier, a good in-between between our Ice Wall and our Hadrians. You've got Wall of Static. Let's go with 3 of them. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Now at this point, our deck's really starting to develop, and it will probably be focused at the moment on the right, where it says Ice, and in brackets it should say 15. Now if we discover that we've put in too much ice, you can easily hit the minuses and clear it out. And if you scroll on the right, back up to the top, it will now say total cards, 26. So we've done our agendas and our ice. 2 of the most core parts of any corporation deck. And we have a minimum deck size of 45, and because we only have 20 to 21 agenda points, we can't put in any more. We can't have more than 49 cards. So we'll be adding now up to 19, or alternatively we could add up to 19 to 23 more cards. So let's head back to filter and go down to type, click on ice, and let's add in some operations, the event cards that can really make us some money. Now before we look at these, I just want you to scroll across and click on your identity card that should be at the top right of your card deck. You've got the operations to the left, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Click on your identity, and the Wayland Consortium, the whole thing is that you gain 1 extra credit when you play a transaction operation. So this is something to bear in mind while we look at operations. The transaction operations are already good, but for us they're even better. We're just getting more bang for our buck. So if you jump down to Beanstalk Royalties, this card gives us 3 credits, and we play it, costs nothing to play, and because it's an operation transaction we get another one. Take all 3 of those, 1, 2, 3. Okay, underneath, hedge fund, again, operation transaction, lots of money, we'll take 3 of them as well, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, Scorched Earth, underneath hedge fund, massive card, deal 4 meat damage if the runner is tagged, game winner. I'd love to put 3 of them in the deck. We only have, if you look, quantity 2, but you know what, I want both of those in just to increase the chance of seeing them, so I'll put in 2 Scorched Earth. Now, the other 2 operations, Aggressive Negotiation and Shipment from Kayagya, both can be useful, but it depends what else you put in the deck. things like Beanstalk royalties and hedge fund, our identity makes them useful. Scorched Earth, it's just such a classic card. You can't really, it's hard not to put it in. Aggressive Negotiation and Shipment from Kaguya. Maybe we don't need them. So let's hold fire on that, because we haven't looked at all our cards yet. So go up to filter, or at the moment, to the right it should now say total cards, 34. So we go into type, so we've done our identity, we've done our agenda, we've done our ice, we've done our operation. Let's take a look at the assets. Click search. Oh, it doesn't. Search, just hit search twice. Okay, so we've got 3 options now with assets, which is good because our deck's getting pretty full. We've got the Melange Mining Corporation, good asset for quick money. Our deck likes money. Underneath, the Pad Campaign, which is an asset advertisement, consistent money, pretty good. And underneath, one of our own Wayland assets, which we can spend a time to trash a piece of ice that we've rezzed and gain 4 credits. So the idea with this card is that early in the game, when we res those cheap little ice walls, later in the game they're pretty useless. We use security subcontract and we get rid of them and gain money. So possibly worth doing. So what we'll do with the Melange, there are 2 in the deck. I think we'll just take the 1 because we're getting that extra money from our other transaction operations, so probably don't need too much there. Now the Pad Campaign, there are 3 of these, and these can be real money makers, and they work best with many, so we'll put in all 3 of the pads because it's a steady trickle of money, whereas with our identity we're just getting more money when we do big bursts. The Pad Campaign will keep it trickling in. And the security subcontract, if you look underneath, it's got a quantity 1, which means we can only put 1 in the deck. Go on, let's put 1 in. So by now we've added there 1 Melange, 3 Pad and 1 security subcontract, and now we've got total cards 39. Head back to filter. I'm going to go a bit quicker now, obviously, because you guys should be getting this probably by now. So go back down to type. We've done all of them except the upgrade. We'll click on upgrade. Let's see what we've got. We've got 1 choice, the research station. So you can increase your maximum hand size by 2. I'm not really that fussed by that. We've got some good shut people allies like Hadrian's. Not going to take any upgrades, so just go straight back to filter. Now at the moment we have 39 cards, which means we still need at least 6 more before we've reached the minimum deck size, and we could add another 10 if we wanted. So now go down to where the identity tick boxes are and untick neutral and Wayland and tick NBN, Jinteki and Hasbiroid. Okay, so you've got 3 checked before that weren't checked, and go down to type and change upgrade to any, because what we want, we just want like a broad spectrum look. If you were low on ice, you might want to just specify ice and pick out the ice from other factions, but at the moment we've got pretty good coverage everywhere, so I just want to kind of get a broad look at where we can spend our influence, our 15 points. So hit that search button. Now there's a bit of the difference now. If you look to the left, the cards have little coloured dots next to them. For instance, at the top you've got accelerated beta test, Adonis campaign. It's got 2 little purple dots that tells us purple has Biroid, and 2 dots means every copy of the Adonis campaign that we put into our deck will cost 2 influence. So if we want to put in 3 of them, that's 6. You can put in as many, you can put in up to 3, and as long as you don't spend more than your influence. Now, some of these cards don't have influence costs next to them, like accelerated beta test. That's because the card doesn't have any influence cost, and it's from a different faction, you can't put it in. Really, this is only the agendas. So basically, because accelerated beta test is a Hasbiroid agenda, we can't put it in, so just ignore it. So if you look, you've got Adonis campaign, aggressive secretary, Akitari, Watabe, anonymous tip, archive memories, astroscript program, astroscript pilot program, which we can't put in because it's an agenda, biotic labour, which is really expensive, and so on and so forth. So obviously here you kind of got to have the knowledge of what you want and the knowledge of the decks. So you might just have to put a bit of time in here. But knowing what I know, at the moment we don't have anything in the way of traps. So I'm going to scroll all the way down, right to the S's, and I'm going to look at snare. I'm going to click on the picture to get some more detail. And it tells me there's 3 of them in the deck, and it tells me next to it that there are 2 little pips of colour, which means it's going to cost 2 influence per snare. Now I'm going to take 2 snares into the deck. So that's 2 influence each, 4 influence spent. So I've got 11 points left. Right underneath snare is a card that appeals, a toll booth. Now, in addition to being a very big piece of ice, importantly it's a code gate. And as I said earlier, with the Enigma, we're lacking code gates, and people who play regularly against Wayland might know this. So as a bit of a surprise, so that they have to still bear that in mind, I'm going to put in 2 toll booths. Toll booths are also great for Wayland because they cause the runner to lose money, which makes Wayland's monetary superiority seem even better. And that was 2 toll booths. They've got 4 influence each, 2 influence each, 2 of them for 4. Underneath actually is another code gate, Victor. And now this is a Hasbiroid piece of ice, which works very differently to ours. I'm just going to splash in 1 Victor, just to keep the runner on his toes in case it comes up. So that's 1 more Victor in the deck. We're up to 44 cards now. Now if I have a look through my deck on the right, I've got 11 agenda cards, 7 asset cards, 18 ice cards, and 8 operations. No upgrades, but to be honest, there aren't many upgrades in the core deck, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. So what could we use now? We need at least 1 more card, and we've still got plenty of influence. Okay. Gonna go up to P, Project Junebug. Good Jinteki trap means that we can advance an agenda and keep them guessing. Is that a trap? I'm just gonna put 1 of those in there. It's only 1 influence. Now at the moment the deck could be finished at 45 cards. We could be completely finished. We could go up to 49 as long as we don't spend too much influence. So let's say I bought some really expensive influence cards and spent it all and was on 47 cards and still wanted to go up to 49. All I'd have to do is go back into my Wayland neutral cards, find a couple that I didn't take, like we only took 1. We only took 1 archer, so we'll take 2 archers, and we didn't take any shipments from Kayaga, the operation card. Take 1 of those. Hell, maybe I'll take a research station to increase my hand size, and just plump up my deck to 49 to make it harder to find those agendas. But let's say that we're all done now. All you do now, you've got your 45 cards, just scroll down the page slightly, and underneath all the cards, you have several grey boxes. You've got online save unavailable, it's not a problem. Display as BP code, save as text file, save as OCTGN deck, clear deck. So click on save as text file. Give it a deck name. We'll put this in as Wayland Learner and click save offline. The download box appears at the bottom, and then give that a click. Open it up. It's on Notepad. I hate this font, so I've changed it. And then it tells you created it, tells your identity, tells you total cards, how many copies there are, and next to the cards that were outside your agenda, you can see that were outside your identity, you can see the pips of how much influence they cost. At the bottom it tells you total agenda points 20, that's good. Influence values totals, Hasbiroid 2, Jinteki 5, NBN 4, Wayland Consortium 25. Now we can ignore the Wayland Consortium because we are Wayland, we don't pay the influence for our own cards. But if we look at the other 3 corporations, Hasbiroid, Jinteki and NBN, we'd spent 2, 5, 7, plus 4, 11. We spent 11 of 15. We don't have to spend all 15, so that's absolutely fine. This deck is all good, ready to go. It's got many classic Wayland touches, but with those sprinkles of toll booths, victors, Junebugs, snares, This is a deck with some teeth, and it's got some surprises in it. Now we could have spent up to 4 more influence and got up to 4 more cards as well. So you could even squeeze in a bit more surprise in there if you wanted to. Hopefully that's been helpful. That's the corporation run through how to make a deck on, well, in real life, but also on this website particularly. Any questions, just give me a bell.